Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Andrew Townsend. I'm an e-learning video evangelist here with eLearning Brothers. And today in our webinar, we're going to be talking about implementing an e-learning video into Lectora. This webinar will be recorded. We'll get a copy of it emailed out to everyone in attendance later today. We're also going to be posting this recording on our blog, on our website, probably early next week. If you have any questions during the webinar, we'll be ready to answer your questions in the questions panel or during the webinar, so feel free to use the questions panel as you need it. We'll get to as many questions as we can. If we can't get to your question, we'll post that in the recap next week, or we'll try to get that information to you in the email. To talk to us about Lectora, we have Bill Milstid, our senior designer and developer, with us today. Thanks for taking the time to join us, Bill. We're excited to hear what you have to say. Also, just so you know, one of the things we like to do after the webinar is try to follow up as soon as possible. Sometimes it's just to get feedback. Most of the time we would like to touch base, find out if anyone needs some one-on-one clarification about our webinar topics after the fact. Also, if you are attending and you don't have an eLearning Brothers account, we're going to be giving everyone attending a free eLearning Brothers account. So you can look forward to that. There's a lot of templates and assets in there for video as well as for Lectora. So hopefully you'll find that account useful. All right, so first to talk to us about our project, I'll go ahead and pass the presentation over to you, Bill.
All right, so we're going to be working obviously in Lectora today, and what we're going to use is one of our styles and the new styles from our template library. This is our 80s neon Lectora style. This is actually just part of the layout file that we have here. But we're kind of going to work off this as though we've got a real module here, right? And so I've gone in and just kind of created a blank slide, and what we need to do is well, we've got a call to pop a video in on this particular screen. So I need to get that video that I know Andrew has been working on into Lectora at the size that we need it at, and that is probably the most important thing that I can tell him right now. So this particular file, the maximum width is going to be 1009 pixels wide, and so I think we're going to use that to set our upper limit for size. I would imagine, right, Andrew?
Yeah, we'll get into some sizing, but it's excellent to know that 1000 pixels is our limiter, because that
right.
rules out 1080 for me.
Okay, good to know. Well, so from here, really, it's a pretty simple process. We've got our max size. We know what we need to pop in there. I just basically need to get that video and drop it in so that I can show folks what to do. Do you want to process that, or how do you want to handle that, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and bring the screen back to me here. Okay, excellent. So I've brought it up in Camtasia. Now I can also export this from Premiere or other video editors. The principles are all the same. I'm going to be showing Camtasia for some design purposes. So Bill mentioned that the project that he's built is in the 80s neon style, and the Camtasia templates that we have here at eLearning Brothers, that my whole library is just full of all these themes that I've downloaded from eLearning Brothers. But I know that the Pulse theme right here is very similar to the 80s theme. So anytime while I'm editing my video that I'm going to have a call out or an intro or a layout or something like that, I'm going to want to use the Pulse theme so that it matches the project. So I'm going to go ahead and click this magnifying glass, make my project the same size as my timeline. And we're going to put a lower thirds on. Let's look at the lower thirds choices we've got here. That one's kind of nice. It's a little wide though. We probably don't need it to be taking up that much space for this particular setup. The first lower thirds, it's a little lower profile. So I'm going to use that one. Drag it onto my timeline. Comes in a nice spot. Great. Now I'm also going to want to get the text files to be matching the finished project. So I'm going to double click on this a few times. Whoops, I moved it. Control Z to move it back up. There we go. Okay. Double click on it twice. So now I'm editing the font file. Bill's project is using Open Sans and Permanent Marker. So I'm going to go ahead and use those two. Those are the two fonts that are in the 80s neon file. So now we've got this nice, it's not going to play great for you. GoToWebinar doesn't catch that many frames per second. But you can see that that is now adjusted to match the 80s neon look. Now, I know that also later in my video, I'm going to want more information on the screen. I'm going to use the half, the pulse half here. And I'm going to get those fonts adjusted as well. I'm going to switch them around this time. Let me go permanent marker up top and open sans at the bottom. Okay, excellent. Now really quickly, it looks like that half comes in, and at that point, my subject Taylor is working a little bit center screen, and that's going to be covered up. So I'm going to also come into my animations, add a custom animation here at the beginning, where at the end of that, I'll double click on it, at the end of that, this video is slid over a little bit so that we can see Taylor. So let's see how that looks as I scroll over. It looks like it goes a little too soon. We want it to start about there. So I'll move it to start there, and I'll shorten the animation a touch. How does that look? Very nice. So now it slides over as the information comes on. And I don't want to have to create a new custom animation, so I'm just going to use restore, and it'll undo the previous animation's work here. So let's thumb through that, just make sure that works. Goes a little early, so I'm going to shorten it as well. So now it moves back appropriately. All right, great. That looks good. We've got a good animation. We've got the lower third and the half template on there at the time that they should be. Now it's time to get it back out to Bill. So I'm going to click share, and I'm going to go local file. Now here's some options. Bill said that it can't go beyond 1,000 pixels wide, so that rules out my 1080p. I can also go 720p with their default, and that would keep me inside my my width limit. However, that's still going to be HD, and there's going to be a lot of bit depth in there. It's going to be really big. Also, Bill spoke with me earlier and said, hey, this whole project is going to be exported fairly small, so if you can get me the smallest file you can. And he mentioned to me it doesn't have to be HD. So I cried a little bit as a video producer. That hurts to know that I'm not making an HD video, but he said 420 or 480 is going to be great. Now I do want to be in control of the finished size of my project a little bit more. I want to make it smaller than your typical 480, so I'm actually going to come in and say custom production settings. Now this will give you the same, well, not the same, but closer setup options to Premiere and other video editors. So custom, you want to become familiar with the custom production settings. I'm going to say I want it to be an MP4. MP4 is a great file. It says Smart Player HTML5, but here on this first screen, I'm going to deactivate that Smart Player and make it a simple MP4. So by deselecting this, it gets rid of that HTML5 wrapper. We come into size. Now it's already gone to 480, and that's fine. I can make those adjustments here. If I wanted to make it exactly 1000, I can, but 480 is going to work great for our purposes now. And because I kept the aspect ratio, it automatically adjusted the height to match. Now I'm going to come into my video settings, and this is all set up from the last time I exported a project, so it's matching exactly what we want it to be. But let me bring it back to how it will probably look. So the frame rate will be whatever the frame rate was on your video default. Sometimes that'll be 30, sometimes that'll be 23.9. I'm just going to set it to 24. That's a pretty standard number. Keyframing every 5 seconds, and the profile and level of the H.264 are fine. I don't need to touch those. I do want to keep an NTSC color mode. And then instead of using my quality to try to adjust the file size, I want to be in a little more control. So I'm going to come to bit rate and move that around. So a 1200 bit rate will still look pretty good. It won't look too choppy, but the difference between a 1200 and an 800 is also surprisingly small, especially when you're dealing with really, really small video files. So I'm just going to keep that at an 800 to keep that small. Click next, and it asks me if I want to add a watermark or anything like that, and I don't. I click next again, and it now is giving me an opportunity to title my video. I'm going to name it Bill Lectora, and we'll get that exported. Now that's going to come out to be probably around 2 meg, maybe around 3 meg, and that's pretty small. And hopefully that won't be an issue when it comes to Bill's project. Now I can do the same thing in Adobe Premiere. I won't show it to you, but in your video export settings, you've got the same options: the video size, the bitrate control. You've got your keyframing, your H.264 controllers. All of those are still there. And many other video editors also have those same adjustment options. So it's just good to know your particular tool. So this is how we did it in Camtasia, and it gave us a really small file. So I already sent that over to Bill. I already exported it and sent it over to Bill, and I'm going to pass the screen back to you to see what he does with it.
All right, thanks. So the reason why we just went ahead and did the kind of built to size 480 video there is kind of showing you guys how to plop in a video that is already set up for what your layout is. Now, if Andrew had so wanted to put out a high def video, you know, if we had another set of needs for this project, he very well could have done that, and we could insert that video and kind of resize it as we need. But just for the purposes of today, we're going to go through kind of the quick and simple approach, right? So in Lectora, as with most things, it is pretty simple and straightforward. You want to insert a video into your course? There are a few ways to do it. Go up to the Insert tab. If you happen to have video in your library already, you can grab it from there. If you're going through a streaming, service that you'd say you've taken this video that Andrew's created and you're going to post it on your server and host that yourself, not have it in through the main body of the course here. You can do that through the streaming video link, or the way we're going to handle it today is we're just going to put in the video file that Andrew sent. So we're going to hit Browse under the file there, and Bill Lectora, and hit Open. If you notice, it just pulls it up, and all this stuff is grayed out. If you've got a video format that's not MP4, which we recommend for a few reasons, Lectora does do some conversion and compression here, but by and large, recommendation would be to go through your tool if you can natively, and I would even suggest, I think Andrew would probably agree, doing the conversion in an external tool if you can. Anyway, we don't need to do that here, so we've grabbed our video, we press OK, and we put it where we need. Right here, we're going to pull it over to the left of this little text caption that we've got, move to the right position on stage. We need to go ahead and move that a little further up in the stack, or at least place it so that it always is on top of our other objects in the file, just to make sure that it does stay up there. And then after that, let's check our position on tablet and mobile, because this will be a responsive file that we're working with. Maybe move it up a little bit in mobile. Same with our text box here. And from there, honestly, we're really good to publish. Lectora, again, super straightforward. Many other options if you do want to go through it. You can also include a YouTube link if need be. But all of them are just about as simple as we've just shown you here. It's kind of one of the great things about this tool, in my opinion. That's the bulk of what I have to show for getting it in there, Andrew. How would you like to continue from here?
This is great. So let's talk about exporting your project really quickly from Lectora. Do you have to take any special considerations when exporting with a video in?
No, actually, as far as it really just kind of just general best practices for a course. Publish, it wraps everything up for you, and you're generally good to go. A lot of the bulk of the legwork gets done in the video program. Lectora just packages everything up nice and clean.
Excellent, excellent. All right, this is a very straightforward process. We actually don't have any questions.
All right.
So let me take the screen back really quickly and show one more thing here. So coming up soon, in less than 25 days, actually it might just be 25 days, we've got ELBX. It's on June 11th. It's a user conference for eLearning Brothers users and anybody that loves e-learning. We're going to have Dr. Michael Allen will be there. Dr. Carl Kopp will be there. We've got a ton of people. Becky Willis is going to be there as well. So come and check it out. You can learn more at eLearningBrothers.com. Bill's going to be there also. Bill Milstid will be there. He's going to give a presentation with our Director of Product and Design, Nick Brown. It's going to be great. So we'll be sure to look for you all and answer some of your questions there. So thanks for joining us today. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a good one.